Beautiful combat sports fan, it would be an absolute pleasure for me to have you on my live stream for this unbelievable showdown, this historic and iconic and a once-in-a-lifetime fight between Bud Crawford and Canelo. I will be streaming this fight. I will be live streaming a watch-along on my channel, so please join me, beautiful fight fan. Join me. Let's have the time of our life. No one I would rather watch this fight with than you. You, my fellow beautiful boxing fan. Now let's get into it. Yes, I hear all the criticism, I hear all the doubt, I hear Bernard Hopkins saying that what happens if Canelo loses? Canelo got nothing to gain. If Canelo loses this fight, his legacy is this, his legacy is that. But hold on a second. Let's pause. Let's go back actually. Let's just say that Canelo Alvarez does lose this fight in whichever fashion. Let's say on September 14, my first video after the fight is Bud Crawford shocks the world and Bud Crawford cements himself as one of the GOATs. What then? Because let's be honest, when you talk about two all-time greats, I mean, listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford are the two greatest fighters my eyes ever saw. I'm not a boxing historian. I don't know every boxer in every era. But I have been watching the sport for years. And let me tell you, out of all the tape that I have watched from all the boxers, I have never seen someone as great as Canelo and as Bud. Canelo is the greatest pressure/counter attacker in history, and Bud is simply the most creative and dynamic fighter my eyes ever saw. So let's go with Bernard Hopkins. Let's say Canelo loses the fight to Bud Crawford, and Bud Crawford takes Canelo's belts and sails off into the sunset. What then? What's next? First of all, before I give out my opinion, please let me know your opinion in the comment section. Now let me tell you mine. What would happen? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Canelo and Crawford, their legacies are set in stone. I don't care what happens to Bud Crawford, and I don't care what happens to Canelo when talking about them losing. If Canelo loses this fight, I'm going to give him all the respect in the world, and I'm going to give Bud all the credit in the world. I'm not going to say Canelo was washed, and I'm not going to say this or that. And if Canelo wins this fight, I'm going to give him all the credit in the world, and I'm going to give Bud all the respect in the world if he loses. Why? Because I'm not going to say, you will never hear me come out here and say, Canelo was supposed to beat him. He's the bigger man. Bud bit off more than he could chew. Bud simply dared to be great. He got nothing to lose. I don't care about any of that. This is the truth. Both men are legends. Both men are icons. Both men are heroes to their hometown kids. Look at the kids in Omaha, Nebraska. Look at when Crawford beat Spence, that celebration party. 25,000 people came out in Omaha, Nebraska and serenaded Bud. And Canelo Alvarez, don't even get me started. Listen, when I was in Mexico, I kept asking every single person about Canelo and Chavez. And they are so loved and so appreciated by every single Mexican that it's truly heartwarming. Yes. Yes, beautiful fans. Both men deserve all the respect and all the credit in the world, no matter what happens on September 13. Because if you actually think about it, you and me, what do we want when talking about combat sports, boxing, MMA, kickboxing, whatever you like? We just want to see the best fight the best. We don't want to see the best not fight the best because we want them to stay undefeated. Who cares about the undefeated record? Listen, the greatest fighter of all time, Muhammad Ali, the man had more than one loss. more than 2 losses, more than 3 losses, more than 4 losses, and what? And what? He's still the GOAT. He's still the most loved. He's still the most appreciated. And I believe this is the case with Canelo and Bud. They are like Muhammad Ali. They aren't as appreciated as they deserve to be. Why? Because they are still active. The moment, I promise you, the moment Bud and Canelo retire, boxing will take a hit. And you and me will feel some type of way. Because I'm going to be honest, who do we have other than Bud and Canelo? I mean, yes, the sport will keep on thriving. The sport will keep producing stars. Yes, I know how things work. But as far as me, myself, what I have seen throughout history, I haven't seen anyone like Bud and I haven't seen anyone like Canelo. And I don't think I will ever see anyone as close as Bud or Canelo when you talk about their charisma, their swag inside the ring, the way they fight, the way they move, the way they feint, the way they throw their combinations, the way they deal with adversity, the way they come back after losing a round, the way they regroup in the corner, the way they handle adversity, like I said, and the way they celebrate their victories. You never see Bud Crawford losing his mind after winning a fight. And you never see Canelo losing his mind after losing a fight. Why? Because they expect the most from themselves. Why? Because they know who they are and what they are. And let me tell you who they are. They are 2 of the greatest fighters this sport has ever seen. My eyes ever saw. Like I said, I have yet to see someone like Bud or Canelo. So getting back to our question, what happens if Canelo loses? Like Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins, I heard an interview of him saying that, why did Canelo take this fight? He doesn't have anything to gain. What? If Canelo beats Bud, I'm going to give him all the credit and respect in the world. Why? You will never ever hear me on this channel say that Bud, he was going to lose anyway. Canelo was supposed to beat him. Bud is a small man. I mean, listen. Yes, of course Canelo fought at bigger divisions. Yes, of course Canelo is denser. Of course Canelo's body type is much more compact. But if you put both of them in X-large t-shirts and put them and make them stand next to each other, they're basically the same size. You know what I mean? Like, they're around the same height, around the same. I mean, yes, Bud's a bit taller, got a bit longer arms. Canelo is denser, but like, you know what I mean? We're not talking about a size difference of like Tyson Fury and Usyk. And even we saw what happened then. We saw that Usyk's skills conquered Fury's size. I mean, Fury was like, what, 30, 40 pounds bigger than Usyk on fight night. Canelo won't be 40 pounds bigger than Bud. So this is what we're not going to do. We're not going to be saying, at least on this platform, we're not going to be saying that Canelo beat a small man. Canelo was supposed to beat him. No. Canelo wins this fight, you give him all the respect and the credit in the world. Bud wins this fight, you give him all the credit and respect in the world. Whoever loses, we gotta appreciate them, we gotta uplift them. Canelo loses this fight, so what? The man is a legend, the man is an icon. The man already has 2 losses, and you can make the case he got a few more losses, but who cares? Bud Crawford, same thing goes for Bud. If Bud retires 41-0, 42-0, or 42-2, or 40-3, whatever it is, who cares? At least as on my part, I don't care. The last thing I care about is the undefeated record. And you can't care about the undefeated record if you care about the best fighting the best. That's my point and that's my thing when you talk about this beautiful, noble art of boxing. So all I'm saying is this, beautiful people. Bud wins, we give him all the credit and all the respect in the world. Canelo loses, we give him all the credit and all the respect in the world. Canelo wins, we give him all the flowers and all the respect and all the credit in the world. Bud loses, we give him all the flowers and all the respect and all the admiration that one could ever give. Why? Because they are simply the two greatest fighters my eyes ever saw, and they are simply two of the greatest fighters to ever step foot inside the squared circle, and that is a fact. And that is why next week on September 13, both men will be participating in the biggest, if not the biggest, at least one of the very few biggest fights in the history of boxing. And when you talk about history, you're talking about over 100 years. Thousands on thousands on thousands on thousands of fights and fighters. Probably millions of people who laced up a pair of gloves and laced up their shoe straps. And Canelo and Crawford, they are two of the very few of the greatest to ever do it. And that is a fact.